From the time I can remember, I have loved setting goals for myself. For example, when I was 5 years old, I set a goal to ski down the mountain faster than any of my siblings. I'm the youngest in my family, and apparently my parents thought it would be a good idea if I went really slow while I was learning to ski because they chose not to put ski wax on my skis, which obviously makes them go faster. So naturally, I snuck out of bed and I put the ski wax on my skis like I'd seen my dad do many times before. And the next morning, with sheer terror in their eyes, my parents watched helplessly as I flew down the side of that mountain, past my siblings. I remember my parents yelling, "Pizza, Noelle, pizza, put your skis like a pizza, not French fries, like a pizza." As I grew, my goals grew. You know how your parents used to say that they walked to school a mile uphill both ways in the snow? Well, in high school, I set a goal to achieve a full scholarship in track and field. I remember waking up hours before school began so that I could run the mile to school in the sun, rain, and snow, only to run uphill and downhill and uphill again on the stadium bleachers with the hope that the additional training would align with my goal. The hard work eventually paid off. Along life's journey, we can't always have what we want, regardless of how hard we try. Many of my goals have been thrown off course. I never expected to get hit by a 1,600-pound bobsled when I was first in the world in the sport of skeleton, or to finish a very disappointing 4th place in my Olympic debut. I never expected to miscarry our little girl at 18 weeks, and then a boy at 16 weeks, or another girl at 17 weeks pregnant. And doctors never could understand why. Trials can stop us in our tracks. They can literally take our breath away. When this happens, what do we do? How do we move forward? Throughout these trials, my husband Jansen and I have often thought, this chapter in our life has ended. So how do we turn the page? When I showed up to compete in the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia, I knew it was the pinnacle, the highlight, the moment of moments, and the finale to 15 years of hard work and constant drive towards this Olympic dream. As I crossed that finish line, jumped into the stands, embraced my husband and my kids and my family, and had that medal draped around my neck, it was an indescribable moment in time. I was leaving my legacy. I had given it my all, and it had proven to be enough. But was that it? Was that moment that had passed the legacy of my entire life? What was next? We've all faced major changes in our lives. We've all faced a point in time when a door in our life closes, right? Jansen and I wondered, how do we move forward? What do we do now? Although it was a significant sacrifice of time, energy, and money, we realized that a big portion of what we loved and missed about the Olympics was that our Olympic journey had allowed us to create connections with people from a variety of cultures, countries, religions, backgrounds, and ethnicities. Through these relationships, we realized that life is much too short to be caught up in comparing ourselves with others, even in a career where the lens of the world was focused on me and comparing me to everyone else in the field. I realized that our talents are not meant to be compared with another's, but they are meant to be individually developed, disciplined, and discovered. Despite the Olympic chapter in our life coming to an end, Jansen and I knew that we never wanted to stop progressing forward. We knew that we never wanted to stop developing the talents that God has blessed us with, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant they might seem. So to answer the question that had filled our minds following this Olympic finale and our Olympic journey, we asked ourselves, how do we move forward? We realized that in order to move forward, we had to look forward to a bright future. We had to be willing to push our fears aside, and we had to be willing to try. We had to continue to learn and to have hope for and faith in another great chapter in our lives ahead. So with an appreciation for the experiences behind us, we sat down together and we looked forward to everything that we had always wanted to learn, do, see, earn, or have in this life journey. Together, we decided to create the ultimate bucket list. You know, like, what do you want to do in your life before you kick the bucket, right? We decided to create a strategy that would help guide us to reach our goals. Following the Olympics and the loss of another pregnancy, I became pregnant with twins. They are now 4 years old. During my pregnancy with the twins, we continued to add to this ultimate bucket list. And at the top of the list, Jansen wanted to earn a master's degree in business administration, and I wanted to learn how to speak Spanish. So the only logical idea we could come up with was to sell our comfortable house of 9 years and move at 33 weeks pregnant with twins to Costa Rica for a master's degree program. It definitely was not convenient by any means, but it was definitely worth it. Ahora aprendí y entiendo casi todo en español. Y si ustedes quieren hablar conmigo, a mí me gustaría mucho. Yeah. Yeah. Love you too. Although I don't speak Spanish perfectly, and I don't understand everything that's being said, I am willing to push aside my fears, and I am willing to try. I have built many relationships because of my willingness to try. I know I will never speak Spanish as well as some dear friends of mine, but God does not expect us to be like someone else or to compare ourselves with them. He expects us to have faith in Him, and He expects us to try. After a couple years away, we have since moved back to the United States with a lengthened bucket list, which continues to grow. 30 days at a time, Jansen and I have decided to dedicate an average of 10 minutes each day to becoming who we want to become. I easily found 10 minutes in my day once I removed social media from my devices, and now I have to intentionally log in each time. So, when I was in elementary school, I remember seeing a guy come to an assembly, and he could juggle really well. And at that point in my life, I said, oh, that'd be so cool if I could juggle, you know? So I went home. Some of you guys are like, yeah, I did this too. So I went home, I grabbed some socks, and I started juggling. It was like, plop, plop, plop. I gave up. I was like, okay, I guess that's for like those that are talented in juggling, you know? So earlier this year, Jansen and I added juggling to our ultimate bucket list. You guys are too nice. So within a couple of intentional days, we were able to learn how to juggle. And after 30 days, I was able to get my goal of learning how to do 10 tricks. I don't know if I can build that. There we go. Oh yeah, you can clap. You can clap. There we go. I am not as good as that guy at my assembly, but I am willing to try, and I am happy with what I can do. The following 30 days, we set new goals for ourselves. So, how many of you guys took music lessons when you were younger, only to quit before you could become what your mom really wanted you to become? I see a lot of hands, a lot of smiles. Wow. So what you do is you get one of these things, okay? Here's a little secret. It's called a kalimba or a finger piano, and you can learn a song within 5 minutes. I'm serious, 5 minutes. You can send a video to your mom, your loved one, your old piano teacher, and be like, hey, look, all those years of music lessons really paid off. Thank you so much, okay? This one's for you, Mom. Whoops. Oh, see, I'm going to mess up. There we go. There we go. I'm not perfect. See, all those years of piano lessons paid off, Mom. I may not be able to tie as many knots as a trained scoutmaster, but recently Jansen and I set a goal from our ultimate bucket list to learn how to tie 20 knots and learn their uses. And now I know how to tie a bowline, and I can get someone out of a really, really deep ravine. I hope I never have to use that one. Or when we happen to sail across the ocean in the middle of the night. That hasn't made it on our ultimate bucket list yet. But this past month, Jansen and I set a goal to learn 20 constellations and their mythology. So now we know that if we're in the northern hemisphere, we can find the 7 bright stars, which is Ursa Major, follow over to Polaris, which is the North Star, part of Ursa Minor, arc down to Arcturus, a bright star within Bootes, which is the herdsman. From there you can find Canis Venatici, Corona Borealis, and Leo the lion. Yeah. Okay, guys, I will never start a YouTube beatboxing channel, but I will see what my best can be. Earwhip, 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 earwhip. You dirty, yeah. Eki, what? Okay, do you think I was nervous to do this in front of you all? Yeah, okay. Are there people here that can do every one of these things better than I can? I am sure of it. I am sure of it, okay? Do you think because I'm an Olympian, I can do anything? Maybe anything really fast on the ice, since that's super useful, right? But I am willing to try. I am willing to push aside any natural thoughts and fears that I have, that you all might be judging my mistakes and critiquing my technique. You were, weren't you? Once we realize that this life is never meant to compare ourselves with others, but to connect with them, our fears of perfection and judgment will fade. Develop your talents, whether you believe you are talented in them or not. We aren't just leaving a legacy at every major chapter in our lives, but we are leaving legacies throughout each and every page of our lives. Our legacy is left by sharing our talents and skills and what we have learned with others, and by helping others to become the best version of themselves possible. Life is not meant to be endured. It is meant to be lived. If we want to move forward, we must look forward to a bright future. If I could leave a challenge, it would be to make a list of who you want to become. What do you want to learn, read, do, or see? Create your ultimate bucket list. Break your goals down to a 30 to 90-day goal and hold yourself accountable each and every day. Doubt not. Fear not. We don't have to be an Olympian, the best in the world, or even great at a specific talent to become who God needs us to become. We just have to be willing to push our fears aside, have a little bit of faith, and try. Thank you so much, you guys.